Core system operational.
Hey folks, this is RedFalcon.
Vanduul Swarm initiated. Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound.
And this is Arena Commander version 0.8.
Contact. Scan initiated.
Now for those who aren't in the loop, Arena Commander is the dogfighting module for Star Citizen. And at this early stage of release, the only ships available to fly are the Hornet, the Aurora, and the 300i. The only gameplay mode available right now is Vanduul Swarm mode, where you fight wave after wave of increasingly difficult enemies. There are 15 waves in total. Every 3 waves is an ace pilot. And I'm going to try to give you a little information about each pilot as we go along. I played this right after a recent patch, so for some reason the flight computer is acting a little strange, so I'm having to fight the ship a little bit. But you notice as we go on through the dogfight, I get better at it.
Stern shielding at 75%. Eliminated.
This patch also saw the removal of the target arrow. It was a little arrow that appeared on your HUD that would point you to where your target was located. Not knowing this, had to learn to use the radar. So if things look a little awkward and I'm missing a lot of shots, that's probably why.
0 hostile contacts remaining. Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound.
Contact. Scan initiated. Scan initiated. Proximity alert.
And here I got caught in the laser beam there. Really messed my ship up.
Proximity alert. Hostile eliminated.
At this point I was debating on whether or not to restart the game since I was only on wave 2, or just to go ahead and keep playing. Obviously I decided to keep on playing.
Eliminated. Scan initiated. Proximity alert. Hostile eliminated.
0 hostile contacts remaining.
Alright, coming up is Little King. According to the manual, Little King is a resilient and brutal killer. Little King is a long-range fighter, often opening up well before it is in range,
Scan
but with a
initiated.
deadly accuracy born from its experience in clan raids against multiple UEE systems. It has been known to lurk at the edges of a battle and pick off retreating pilots and civilian ships caught in the crossfire. Pilots bestowed its handle at the time of its death. It took 2 full flights of fighters to take it down, and combatants said it was like taking on a kingship.
Achieved missile lock. Hostile eliminated. Scan initiated.
Took him out with 1 missile. I always keep my missiles in reserve to take on the
Proximity
elites.
alert. Scan initiated.
And a lot of people have been saying that they can evade missiles and all that, but honestly, in the earlier version, when I was learning how to play the game, I saw that, but I mean, for the most part, if you can launch your missile before they have a chance to react, it'll take them out.
Eliminated. Scan initiated.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
Hostile eliminated. Proximity alert.
Elite units.
If any of you are wondering, my input device of choice is the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro joystick.
Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
It's a really good joystick to start out with. It's only about 40 bucks, so if you've never used a joystick before, or you're looking to purchase a joystick and you haven't used one for a while, I highly recommend the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro joystick. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I own it and I happen to think it's pretty good. It's not the best joystick on the market, but it's a good entry level one.
Eliminated. Scan initiated. Proximity alert.
Now you may have noticed a green diamond on my HUD right in the middle of the screen. That green diamond means that all of my weapons have a lock. It's called a firing solution indicator. Now, when you do have a clean firing solution, it doesn't guarantee a hit, but the best way to guarantee a hit is to lead your target slightly, even though the weapons do have a limited tracking. But if you can master that and dodge incoming attacks, you should do just fine.
Hostile eliminated. Scan initiated.
By the way, I'm playing on one of two different maps available in Arena Commander. This is Broken Moon. The other one is Dying Star. And I'll do a video later showing Dying Star.
Eliminated. Scan initiated.
I'm going to be extra careful to avoid this beam this time. Now that wobble you're seeing is the IFCS system. That's the computer assisted flight system. It's trying to it's actually overcompensating. I'm thinking when I played this particular game, the IFCS system was a little off.
0 hostile contacts remaining.
But it gets better as I play.
Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Contact. Scan initiated.
So this is where I make a huge mistake.
Proximity alert.
See, what happened there was I was trying to turn, and the IFCS system wasn't compensating for my drift, and so I hit an asteroid.
For reintegration.
Origin jump works at your service. Core system operational. Contact.
The game does have a safety setting where it tries to reduce your drift.
Initiated.
It's called ComStab, and you can see the ComStab indicator to the upper right of my radar. Coupled mode keeps the ship pointing, keeps the ship moving in the direction of the nose, similar to IDS system in Evo Prime Mercenary. Below that is G-Safe, which I currently have disabled. G-Safe reduces the G-forces on the pilot as you go into a turn, so basically it automatically slows the ship down when you go into a turn. I usually have that disabled because it prevents you from doing high Gs, and there will be situations where you need to make a really tight turn to hit an enemy, so I usually leave it off. The downside is there is a chance I can black out if I pull too many Gs for too long. But that's just something, I'm just learning to look out for and compensate for. And below that is ComStab, and like I mentioned before, that reduces the drift. And I've got that enabled right now to see if it would help with the drifting problem. And I eventually turn it off because it reduces your speed as you're going into a turn, and for dogfighting you want to have as much speed as possible without, of course, crushing yourself.
0 hostile contacts remaining.
Okay, so this guy is the priest, and the manual says the only thing that eclipses the priest's skill and finesse in the cockpit is its ferocity on the ground. During the siege of Cryon, Priest was not only instrumental in fracturing the defensive line in space, but also landed on the surface to siege a military stronghold. When it was in a scythe, UEE pilots quickly learned to fear its brutal, close-range fighting style. What ultimately earned the Vanduul pilot its handle were the naval officers who claimed that it would get close enough to hear final confession.
Achieved missile lock.
Well, we're going to see about that.
Proximity alert. Achieved missile lock. Achieved missile
As you can see, he likes to get in close,
eliminated.
and I actually wasted a missile on him, but
Initiated.
he was actually close enough that I could have finished him off with my my guns. But I guess I just have it in my head that I have to use missiles on elites. Point is, he's done now, so we can go and take on his goons.
Eliminated. Scan initiated.
Again with the laser. I need to make sure I stay away from it. And I'm really not sure what those satellites are supposed to do. I'm guessing it's some kind of like
Initiated.
Star Trek inspired mining operation. I really don't know.
Scan initiated.
Also, one thing struck me as a little odd about this game, the missiles have a shorter range than your guns. Your guns can shoot a target up to 2,000 meters away, but your missiles have a 1,500 meter range before they can get a lock. There has been talk of releasing different kinds of missiles, so I'm assuming this is like a short range, highly maneuverable missile as opposed to, say, a long range missile.
Eliminated. Proximity alert.
Elite units eliminated. Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Contact. Scan initiated.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have with dogfighting right now is predicting where the enemy's going to go. There currently is an elite indicator on the HUD, so I just kind of have to eyeball it, and sometimes I get it wrong. And in the final version of the game, the ship's supposed to have 2 fixed guns, as opposed to having all of them gimbaled. There was I believe there was a problem with getting the lead indicator to work on the HUD, or I don't know, so they just made all the weapons gimbaled to make it even. But that's actually made the 300i a very overpowered ship as far as firepower. Because right now, in the few people who are playing in multiplayer, I've heard a lot of them are just, a lot of 300i pilots are just destroying Hornets because of the sheer firepower. However, the one disadvantage of the 300i is its paper-thin shield. There's a point in this video where my engines get taken out in one volley and I'm pretty much just adrift.
Zero hostile contacts remaining.
Flare launched.
Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound.
By the way, I have the graphics set to very low, and even at very low, this game's still beautiful.
Scan initiated. Scan initiated. Scan initiated. Proximity alert. Scan initiated.
Now, during the initial release of Marina Commander, the 300i's computer would falsely give overheating warning. Cloud Imperium eventually fixed it in a patch, but what I thought was really cool was they had a in-universe disclaimer from the manufacturer, Origin Jump Works, stating that there was a flaw in the system and that you just had to take it to your local dealership to get it fixed, which I thought was really neat, how they tie in all that in-universe stuff.
Zero hostile contacts remaining.
Coming up in this wave is Bloodhound. The manual says it was first encountered during the fall of Tiber. This feared Vanduul ace was personally responsible for the destruction of 32 UEE fighters. Combat analysis of the engagement showed an experienced pilot in both long and short-range dogfighting techniques. It was a flawless combination of maneuvering techniques and speed that led it to its handle. Once Bloodhound had a lock onto you, it was impossible to shake.
Achieved missile lock. Hostile eliminated.
So the trick is, as mentioned before, for missiles, you have to launch it close enough that they can't dodge it, but also far enough that the missile has, room to maneuver. Because he was basically coming right at me, the missile hit him head on and really didn't have time to react.
Proximity alert. Scan initiated. Eliminated. Scan initiated.
Okay, here you can see me blacking out a little bit. The trick to not blacking out is to throttle down when you're going into a turn. The throttle indicator is right next to my speed indicator. It's that little the little slider that reads from 0 to 100.
Hostile eliminated. Scan
Elite units
initiated.
eliminated.
Scan
Warning.
initiated.
There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Okay, so right around wave 10 is when it starts to get interesting. You get the Vanduul Alphas, which use missiles, and they're a little bit harder to take down.
Scan initiated.
This is also when you get a lot of fighters on you at once. I believe there are currently 8 out there.
Scan initiated.
And here I'm trying to pick the best target to take out. Rather than just blindly going in and firing, I'm trying to get the ones that are away from the pack so I can take them out easier. Because leading up to this point, it was pretty much just like point, shoot, dead. Now you have to take into consideration your placement and the enemy placement, and you really have to stay aware of your surroundings. Thankfully, though, Vixen and Warlord are keeping a lot of them distracted, but of course they're not going to last very long.
Proximity alert.
Eliminated.
Okay, so now they're going to start coming for me. And looking back, I really should have just let this guy go,
Hostile eliminated.
because there's
Proximity
a guy on my 6 taking pot shots at me. And there he is.
eliminated.
There's nothing more satisfying than actually successfully predicting their movement and firing right where they're going to be and just taking them out in one volley. It's just so satisfying. That's the thing about this game. It's easy to pick up and difficult to master, and I think using a joystick's really helping as far as just I don't know. I think it's more enjoyable. For me, half the fun is the challenge and overcoming that and getting better. Some people might not like that, but I like it.
Thrusters.
And there goes my
Has
engine.
received
It's floating
catastrophic
away.
damage.
Okay, so it looks like my weapons still have some charge, but not enough. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get lined up so I can fire a missile, but it looks like most of my thrusters are down, so I can't get out of the spin.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
Weapons system.
Let's take a look at those damage
Has
states.
received catastrophic damage.
Warning. You are approaching simulation
Main
boundary.
engine's gone, my wing's gone. I've only got like one missile rack left. I don't have power for any of the weapons because my power plant's dead. But I was able to drift out of combat zone, so that's something, I guess.
Stand by for reintegration.
Now I imagine that if we were in the persistent universe and that happened, I would be able to drift off away from the combat zone and signal for help.
Scan initiated.
And I was really hoping that I would have 3 lives by this point still, but I'll make do with what I have.
Hostile eliminated. Scan initiated. Hostile eliminated. Scan initiated.
And for some reason I thought he was on my side of the satellite.
Proximity alert. Hostile eliminated.
I really like fighting around the satellite because it provides some cover and also limits their maneuverability. And mine too, to a certain point.
Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Proximity alert. Contact.
So what I'm doing here is I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for the pack to disperse. Let them make the first move.
Scan initiated. Scan initiated.
And I had a lot of opportunities to make kills there. The problem with the game right now is it doesn't have a target under my crosshair button. So far it only has target the nearest and target cycle through enemy targets. So hopefully that'll be a feature that's released later.
Proximity alert. Flare launched. Stern shielding depleted.
Because every space combat game I've ever played always has the ability to target what's under your crosshair and target the nearest.
Launched. Stern shielding at half strength. Proximity alert. Eliminated. Scan initiated. Flare launched.
Also with this patch they made flares more effective.
Proximity
Currently the 300 eyes only equipped with 12 flares.
initiated.
And you can actually see that indicator at the bottom of the screen, the bottom right of the radar on my visor. The little 9 shows you how many flares I have left, and I'm not sure what the other one does, to be honest, the other indicator. I thought it was like how many enemies were left, but I don't know. Right now it just says 0.
Scan initiated. Hostile eliminated. Stern shielding at half strength. Force shield at half strength. Eliminated. Refreshing shields. Proximity alert. Stern shielding depleted. Weapons system has received catastrophic damage.
Okay, so now my wing's gone, along with the missile layer, so I've only got 2 guns.
Hostile eliminated.
0 hostile contacts remaining.
Alright,
Launch.
this next guy is Payday. First encountered in 2683, Payday was one of the first Vanduul aces that the UEE ever faced. It quickly established itself as a brilliant and adaptive foe, and UEE pilots began to collect a pool for Vanduul Ace's death. Needless to say, the Ace survived all of those early pilots. The collection continued to grow and the handle was born. Many UEE pilots have been taken in by Payday's apparently slow combat style, but when it pulls the trigger, every shot goes where it wants to. Payday's handle eventually took on a different meaning, referring to the death benefits that Mesa Era would pay out to pilots who misguidedly sought their fortune against him. Now the reason I'm not going for him immediately is because I saw this hunter move into what looked like a flanking position. So, of course, now I'm moving into the asteroid field to provide some cover. Unfortunately, though, I don't know how well I'm going to do. I'm also starting to black out from the G's.
Stern shielding at half strength. Flare launched. Scan initiated. Proximity alert. Scan initiated.
What I need to do for these later waves is just fight them in the asteroid field, but...
Proximity alert.
And I accidentally hit the change view button. But it's okay, because I took out Payday. So no matter what happens, I took out Payday. And after Payday, there's one more ace on the 15th wave. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty much gone at this point. I'm just a cockpit. But hey, at least you got to see the weapon damage states in this game, which are awesome. And that's it for me. I made it to wave 12. Score of 86,820. So, not too bad. Anyway, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Arena Commander videos. See you in the verse.